There we go. Now we're back. Sorry.
Okay, so a really short introduction. My need was to have a on-screen keyboard, programmable on-screen keyboard. What it means, it does mean that I wanted to have a freedom to assign, to connect any key of on-screen keyboard with any script in AutoHotkey. And that is the idea behind, as simple as that. To follow this idea later, I have chosen Neutron, great Neutron library, just to enable scalability of icons connected to buttons of this on-screen keyboard. And that's it. Now let me share my screen and I will show how it looks like. Okay, so at the moment I share with you a 24-inch screen, and as you could see, oh, sorry, I didn't press. Okay, now I share the screen probably. So this is 24-inch computer monitor with smaller window. This smaller window is at the moment scalable together with icons which are assigned to buttons. As you could see, at the moment I have just 3 rows and 5 buttons in each row. What AutoHotkey is doing, it enables anybody to configure for each button an icon as well as script, AutoHotkey script, which is connected to this button. And that's it. For example, let's make a small test. Let's add a button. There are 3 steps which have to be followed. Step 1, select SVG, scalable vector graphics file, which will be icon or cover for a button. So I already know where the icons are. Let's choose anything. For example, delete. Okay, step 2, select AutoHotkey script. And again, I know where the scripts are. So let's take something from from Total Commander. Yeah, and the third step, let's choose the position of the button. So this on-screen keyboard is multi-layer, but now for the sake of example, let's just choose the first layer. And let's put it in row number 3, counting from the top, and position and column 5, for example. Now there is an additional option which enable particular button to move from one layer to another to apply the movement between layers. But by default, this position here should be left empty. Okay, and now config ini has been modified and application will restart. It takes a moment. Okay, and here it is. And we have now additional button on one of the layers with assigned AutoHotkey script to it. And a couple of words why I did it. I did it for particular purpose. I work a lot each day by almost entire day with Microsoft Word. And for me, I just searched several days for a tool which would enable me to quickly assign functions to buttons. Of course, Microsoft Word by default enables such functionality. Now I have opened Word, and here on the top of the screen you can put buttons which you can assign to some functions. Unfortunately, this space here is limited, and I cannot put here hundreds of buttons what I would like to do, even hundreds of buttons what I would like to do. And also searching among quite small buttons with a mouse is not what I would like to do. So with such a tool, I can make buttons of a size which I like. I can put as many layers as I like, and I can connect layers with buttons. Thanks to that, flexible move from one layer to another. I can show how it works. Now I have opened the document, and let's now do some actions just as an illustration. Now I'm assigning a template to this file, and it should work. Yeah, and I have a pop-up that now template is assigned. Sorry, I clicked a wrong window. Okay, and this is the moment. Assigning a template to a document is a moment when majority of buttons should become active. For example, I have so-called construction blocks, which enable me to put previously defined set of content just by simple pressing a button. For example, now I pressed one button, and immediately 3 paragraphs of text have been entered. Of course, I can do it also with graphical user interface of Word, but it is much more time consuming. For comparison, to enter this particular construction block, I should press Insert. Next, I should find this button, Explore Quick Parts, press again. You could notice how much time does it take for Word to open this particular interface. Next, I have to click here, Building Block Organizer, and from this list, using this slider, I can choose a particular building block, and next I have to push Insert. So there are a couple of mouse movements and couple of clicks just to put one building block in a document. And again, for comparison, thanks to Otagle, I'm just pressing one button and immediately insert building block into a document. And this kind of savings are possible thanks to this tool. Of course, you have to write separate scripts by yourself, but I provide about more than 100 of them on GitHub. What I do not provide, because I cannot do that, is access to a template, which in fact stores all this kind of information inside.
One of the things that I liked you showed was also your you using on a touch device.
Yeah, at the moment it's quite hard for me to show it. Let me try. because I planned to use DSLR camera for our meeting to present it. This is a small touch screen, a little bit different from one which I have shown last time, but the size is equal. This touch screen is of the same size as previously shown. Such a device costs about 50 euro in China. It's not much more expensive if you buy it in retail shops nowadays. This is a hint. If somebody is looking for it, waiting 3 weeks for such a device is not always worth a price. So it's up to you. This is the size of it is in pixels is 1028 to 600, if I remember correctly, and I can move a window of Photagle to this screen, right? Hopefully it is visible. Yeah, and then it should work as a touch screen. So this is again my personal preference to keep additional touch screen aside of regular screens. To not occupy HDMI port, it is possible to buy interface between HDMI and USB 3, USB 3rd generation. And then all you need are just 2 USB ports in your computer. One USB is used to power up such a small touch screen and to provide information about touch, so the feedback from screen to PC, input information. And the second USB is used then to transfer video between such a screen and PC. So,
hey, Marche, sorry, I was going back and reading through the chats. I missed it. Jesus had asked, how do you quickly and easily switch to the US keyboard layout?
I do it, no, I do it just once if I want to program this foot switch. So I do it in Windows operating system settings.
Okay, so you don't have a script that's doing it or something?
No.
Okay.
No, I do it just by clicking because, you know, to be honest, I programmed this foot switch just once. That was enough for me. I assigned F13, F14, F15, and then thanks to flexibility of AutoHotkey, I do not have to do anything else. I can always make a cross-reference between those keys and some other shortcuts if I like. Cool. So I don't know if I should add something. At the moment, I have something like 13 layers just for Word. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry, 10 layers. 10 layers just for Word, and additionally, I have 1 layer for Total Commander, but this is just a demo. I do not use it, in fact. And here I have just also a demo. This is a key which is used to bring up graphical user interface of Hotstrings application, which was also presented on webinar last time. So what else do I have here?
I know Dmitry had mentioned
visual basic macros, which I call from here. I have some regular settings of Microsoft Word. For example, I can quickly bring ruler. Bringing ruler from the menu requires me 3 clicks. Here I have 1 click. This is this kind of benefits which are coming from usage of highly personalized graphical user interface. What else do I have here? I have a dedicated layer just for addition of tables, where the most frequently functions are kept together, close to each other. For example, here I have styles. This is also a big benefit. Thanks to the fact that I use SVG format icons, I can prepare them by myself, and I can change the colors by myself. I can adjust the font size and so on and so on. And this is quite nice, I think, functionality. I planned to implement a possibility to change the label of the button, color of the background, and size of the text on each icon in a GUI of AutoHotkey, but that was too complicated for me. I decided to give it up and leave it as it is right now. So from this GUI, it is possible just to add buttons, add already prepared icons, and assign already prepared AutoHotkey scripts.
Cool. Hey, Jesus was trying to confirm something. So the switching to the US keyboard layout, is that just for during programming, or?
Yes, I use it just for programming of foot switch, and then I return to my native layout and use it then. You know, programming is a special mode of this device. It switches to the special mode thanks to a special application. I can call it a driver. This driver have to be downloaded from the web page of producer, and then if it is run with my native layout, it doesn't work. If I run it in American layout, then it works. And it is as simple as that. Okay, and then when this device is programmed, I switch off the application which is used to program it, and I use it as a regular keyboard.
Okay.
Well, I know Dimitri was it
Dimitri?
Yeah, he had some scripts that he was going to share as well. Thank you, Marche. That's and for those who are, if you weren't at the last webinar, you know, he went in detail on this and other stuff. So thank you again for sharing that, Marche. It's awesome stuff. But let's go ahead and let some other people share some of their work as well.
Thank you for possibility of sharing that. That was again my honor to show you some tools which I use at work, and therefore I decided to share it and to contact Joe, because maybe some of you will find it inspiring, and maybe even somebody of you will find it helpful also in your activity.
I think it's very awesome stuff. Yeah. Thank you again. Dimitri, you ready to?
Yes.
Awesome.
How do I share my screen?
Just describe it. I'm kidding.
Just describe it.
On the toolbar, you'll find one toolbar with Zoom, and there'll be a share screen kind of green button.
Yeah, found it. Okay, I got the ID of scripts from a previous webinar of Joe, where he was trying to explain somebody how he needed to translate Visual Basic script to AutoHotkey script, and that got me the idea to just make a translator for that.
Cool.
So because it's almost always the same process that you do. For example, I've typed here range A1 is 10, and then the AutoHotkey code should be something like this. Of course, you need some initiation, and this should normally help you to activate or the active Excel window or to create a new application. So if
This
I run
this window, can it also convert VBA variables and constants?
I think it should. Let's check. Test equals 10. And we put here tests.
No, I think he's referring to like, there'll be a constant in the VBA code, a built-in variable, and VBA knows what it is, so it swaps it out for us. But for us, we need to, but it's not defined in the code is the problem.
Yeah, AutoHotkey doesn't request you to define the type of variable.
Yeah,
so here
that's still not
define
right.
it.
Yeah.
And in the translation, he just puts it as a comment because it's not used in AutoHotkey.
Right, but no.
If you made a VBA code here now, a macro, where you recorded, let's say, find all in a range. One of the things in that code would be that it would be looking for Excel down. That would be the direction it was looking. And XL down is a constant in VBA that it understands, and it's not defined anywhere in the VBA code because Excel just knows what it is. Is that something this can handle?
Yeah, but you need, wait, where did I put it?
We don't have to get you sidetracked, but why don't you keep going where you were, and we'll just understand that you need to redefine, run those things first, right, in order to, or include them in there first. Because it's a valid point.
I've made a file with all the codes.
Yeah. Right, that's what we were talking about.
And it just translates that. It uses that information to fix the code.
Okay.
But I think where Jackie was going is so obviously you've planned on it. So I think the answer is yes. But let's just go ahead and keep going.
For example, I've made the. We'll try this macro. I'll paste it into this. When you change this edit field, it will automatically try to translate it.
Cool.
And you can even modify here something and then run it. So. And it works quite nicely. And I've even added some automatic variables because sometimes if you record something, Excel makes a part of width. And then I make a variable object width 1 and try to use that.
Yeah, and I don't mean to diminish this in any way, Dimitri, because I love it. It's awesome. What I've never liked about using the VBA recorder, macro recorder, is it doesn't often, you're like, well, I don't, I did it with the macro recorder and used selection because that's how I wanted to get my code. But I really just wanted to set, hey, it's always going to be hard coded to this range, right? And maybe later we could figure out a way to say, should that be a selection, or do you always want to just define the range and allow it to adapt for that, if that makes any sense?
You can also just program more efficient code, and it will also try to translate that. But for now, I only added the if-then else statements to be translated, because for example, the for loop, I found it a little bit more difficult to do, but maybe I think it's doable, but I should figure it out. Or my guess is actually that I just post it on the forum, and if people love it, they will try to expand it. also for now, I just made it for Excel, but you can imagine if you made it for Excel, it's quite easily to expand it to Word and PowerPoint.
Right.
And okay, recorded is not the efficient way to generate. It's the fastest way to generate code, but it's not efficient code. But I like it because you do not need to search which functions you need to make, and afterwards you can easily take that recorded code and convert it to more efficient code.
Yeah, and maybe it is just a second stage. You say now it's like the pull-up macro recorder, right? Where you do it and then you look at your code, you're like, holy cow, look at all the extra stuff it threw in there. I can clean that up. I don't need all this stuff. But anyway, I love the idea for people who just aren't programmers. This is great.
Yeah, but even if you're a programmer and you need to make some Excel codes, and you find nice examples on the internet of VBA code that's more frequently found, then
Sure.
it's nice to just copy paste it in here, and you will make something of it. It's not perfect, of course, because sometimes you want it to have it a little bit different, but at least you now have a working AutoHotkey code, and that you can change whatever you like.
Yeah, very cool. And it's also a great, easy way to help demonstrate how similar VBA and AutoHotkey code, can be, right? That's why we're like, it's usually so easy to adapt. But it can be a little painful of looking up the constants, or I like to use that VBA recorder when there's not a good example in the forum or somewhere explaining how to do it in AutoHotkey. So I'll just switch over, use the VBA recorder, look at it, and then I'll have to break it down and adapt it myself. But this will streamline that process. So kudos to you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. For example, here you find a line that uses the constant of Excel. One comment I need to say, I first try to put all the constant into the Excel code, in the AutoHotkey code as one big variable. But apparently, I think there was a limitation to the size of the variable because he did not accept it. I didn't know that.
You can increase that memory, right, Jackie? But I don't know if that's still.
I really don't remember. I think it's like something like 64,000 something. I don't remember. But yeah, you probably can extend the memory size allowed for variables. But yeah, here it's with this here, it's probably better to either parse it as you convert it, or do it as an include.
Yeah, that's true. But I try to keep my scripts as I like the concept of a script just working on itself and not to need extra files. But yeah, it's nice.
One small thing, you seem to have indented all of the code after worksheet, which is probably fine, but would have looked just as well if you did that with one, if you had indented that as well.
Yeah, it's just it takes over the original code.
Oh,
that's the reason.
Fair enough.
But I could remove it. Doesn't really...
it wasn't important for me if it was there or not. It just seemed as if it was intentional. But yeah, if it just comes from it having it on the other one, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what this kind of reminds me of slightly is Geek Dude's blocky thing, right? In showing you the two side by side, it also will help people learn how to code, but to some degree.
Yeah. And I have also another project I played a little. It was more a project to learn a bit more about GDIP. So I made checkers.
It's a shame you couldn't have helped us with our voting, here in the U.S. last year. I would have had more confidence in them. That's very cool.
Actually, I cheated a little bit because every piece is a window.
Hmm.
So if you move this window,
Gotcha.
But were they forced to actually stick within the squares, or were you just processes moving them? Okay.
They're forced to keep in the squares, yes.
Okay.
And if you do an invalid move, yeah, it will not work. And if you make a king, you get more options to jump further.
And that we'll invite Geo back, and he'll do a neural network on it to teach it how to win at checkers.
Yeah, that's actually the next idea for this script, to make a AI enemy to play against, and probably after enough code, it will kick my ass. But yeah, it's just a nice project to learn a bit more about GDIP.
Yeah, sure.
And one thing, I couldn't find it, but I was looking to a nice code for sounds, because you have beeps, and I know the old Game Boys have nice victory sounds, and I think you could programmatically it easily with a few beeps and sleeps to have a da 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 da, something like that when you gain a piece or something like that. But I couldn't find it on the internet. I'm not sure if maybe somebody knew some nice sites for that.
Some system beep files, or just some audio files, or
no, I don't. I wanted to have no audio files, but just I'll show you. I think change piece. Here I have, for example, some code to display some beeps with some sleeps, just to indicate that something happened. And I think the forum has some scripts to play around with it, but I couldn't find a library for standard victory sound or something like that, or a crash, or I don't know.
Well, there's the whole media folder, right, from the Windows that has a bunch of sounds, but maybe that's still not quite what you're describing. There was, what were those things called? MIDI files, right? Also that I think you could program. Is that right, Jackie? I think you can actually you can construct MIDI sounds to do tunes, right?
So, I haven't never played with that, so I wouldn't know. My guess is that Windows comes with a bunch of audio files that are on their default that you could probably use, but with sound beeping and stuff like that, I'm not sure. And creating MIDI files, not sure.
Well, I think you can actually, I don't think you're actually creating the MIDI files. I thought they were, you can kind of program them to sound, if that makes sense. And also, by the way, I think it was Mason G said earlier with the storing of all the stuff into one variable, that apparently if you had store the value first and then use the append. If you look in the chat, you'll see what he's meaning. So shove something there first and then use append with the dot equals and adding to it. Apparently, he can get more into it, which doesn't make sense to me. But maybe as you're adding it, there's a character limit as you're adding stuff at one time. And that's how you can actually. The variable has more room than what you can shove in it at one time.
Ah, okay. Ah, interesting. Or I could also quickly convert it to a gigantic codes of separate definitions to shove it into one array. That's also a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
But with this kind of code, I could easily also make a file for the Word and things like that. One thing that I couldn't figure out is how to make a message box work. But I mean a message box of Excel. Because, for example, input box is quite easy. It was quite easy, but I don't know how to make a message box because you cannot make the.
But which part of the Excel object module has the message box? Is that the application or is it the active sheet? I would guess it actually was the application that had the message box.
Wait, I'll close the checkers because it's so annoying.
That's something that you really can't see in the code there. You need to actually examine which part of the object model that had the.
I could just input here application, but it still doesn't work.
No, again, I don't know exactly which part of it has it, but you could probably figure that out.
But I would think it would be the application.
Yeah, me too. But again, it might be a sub part of it or another part of it or the program itself. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I know it's a little bit a silly question because with AutoHotkey we can easily make a message box, but I was just interested how we could make a message box originally from Excel.
Yeah.
But I think if I post this on the forum, maybe if some interested people love it, they will expand it quickly.
Yeah.
And I also have a third script. Maybe that's interesting. Actually, I wanted to have a way to programmatically insert macros into Excel sheets. And I don't know if somebody has a use case for it, but this is a code where you can easily delete or add macros in an Excel sheet. I was looking forward some time ago, actually to customize the Excel menu. For my work, I made, I think, this is an example where you add options inside the menu, and I loved it because it looked quite professional. And for my job, it was to have some quick links to open certain files.
Dimitri, on any of the things you shared, have you posted them in the forum yet? Are they available?
No, but I will probably post it in the next weeks or things like that, and I'll also send you the links.
Thanks.
So
yeah, if you do
can-
that, I'll try to remember to send it out to everybody, to the people that attended the webinar. Well, to register to the webinar.
But I will probably first clean up the code a little bit because
Yeah.
it's all work in progress, and it's. But I really like this code to translate it because it's quite interesting to work on and to see what problems you encounter, and you just insert Visual Basic code that you find on the internet, and you check what works and when does it fails, and then you try to make it better.
I'd be surprised if this is taken into account, but like on a using the autofill, or not autofill, I'm sorry, the filters, right, where you can filter on multiple things. When you look at the code behind that, it's much more complex than a normal filtering on one variable is easy. Filtering on 2 or 3 is much. I think it uses an array, if I remember correctly. Can your adapter converter handle something that complex?
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Wait, I'll use numbers. That's a little bit easier.
Maybe it's even a multiple column sort. So you sort on one, then the next, and the next. So under data.
Yeah, I'll just try it now. 3. Let's record. Stop.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I was meaning, because that's just an auto filter,
Yes.
right? So turn that off and go to data, and you want to sort by column D and then column E.
Wait. So yeah, then first sort by this, or
Yeah. Sort by column D first and then by column E. No, but no, it's all at the same time.
okay.
It's like a nested sort kind of thing.
This sort, or
Well, it's hard for me to tell because it's not in English, but
probably this one.
there we go. That's the one I think I'm thinking of. So you can add another layer. Is that what that's saying? Is add a second layer? Yeah. But of course, we should have hit record button. I don't think you did that, did you?
Yeah. But we should first add a little bit more data, maybe. And then I'll just remove this one. Record. Sort.
And I think the search replace was also a bit more complicated of code.
Stop. Convert it back. Most of the time, I have no idea if something works or not, because it's hard to predict. Let's see. Let's just try it. Yeah, it fails.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, it's. I remember when I was trying to write the code for it, it like, you know, I mean, this was years ago, and it really hurt my brain because it was like, holy hell! I saw the macro in Excel, and I kept trying to adapt it. I'm like, man, this is much more complicated than, you know, a normal sort. And I don't remember was this exact example, but cool. No worries. And that's again, maybe either you or someone later on will be like, hey, you know what? It's people that are programmers, when they start looking at it, like, oh, that's easy. You know, I just do this. And that's the stuff that to me is like voodoo. It's so awesome. Yeah, very cool.
Maybe if we enter some spaces, could maybe work. No. Set range. No. Yeah, but the thing is, you just need to add a lot of examples, and for those examples, you also need to have the correct code that you know what the end result needs to be, and that's sometimes quite difficult to find.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when you were writing the code to do this conversion, is that what you would do? Is you'd get the VBA version, and then you'd create the AutoHotkey version, and then start looking for those patterns? Is that what you're doing? And then say, it's okay. When this here is the equals in VBA code, I need a colon equals in AutoHotkey.
Yes.
Is it basically, and you just keep leveling it up more and more to the more advanced stuff and maybe you need 2 or 3 examples sometimes to see that pattern, but okay.
Yeah, that's true. And on the forum, you find a lot of people asking, I have this Visual Basic code, how can we translate that? And and there, most of the time, I find nice examples. And afterwards, I try to just find Visual Basic code to try it out. And it's of course it's not at all perfect. I do not claim that, but it's a nice start, and it works in a lot of times for simple programming.
So you know, for you, Dimitri, and thank you so much for sharing this. But anybody listening, what I would love to see is something similar to this, but to adapt curl commands to a HTTP request, because when you're working with API calls, there's never an AutoHotkey, you know, like or you know, an HTTP example, but you'll see curl or Python or whatever. But curl is, I think, often I see that one, I'd say the most, and it would be great to have a button that you could just say, oh well, here's their curl example. Oh, now shove it in. This is what I do in AutoHotkey, right? That'd be sweet. I wrote one that adapts it from Fiddler traffic, so you can look at the traffic in Fiddler and it will convert it. So but it's still, you have to run it in curl first to get the traffic in Fiddler. But anyway, yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, one of the curl issues is that code isn't actually showing all of what you need to do the same thing in AutoHotkey. So
yeah, it's not a simple thing. Very cool, man. Thank you, Dimitri.
Okay.
Yeah, great stuff.
Did anyone else have anything else to share? And Marche, I believe you said you actually had something you wanted some help on as well. And I forgot all about it. So I don't know if you had something you wanted some help on, or if anyone else has something they want some help on.
Yes, indeed, but I think it's quite late right now.
It's too hard. Yeah, I understand.
To be honest, it will be quite hard for me at the moment to explain what I need. I have a proposal. I will prepare better myself for the next time, and then I will ask a question maybe at the beginning, and then we will wait for a right moment just to find an answer.
if you
But
know what,
thank you anyway for reminding me about that.
yeah, what I was going to say is if you like, you don't have to do it today, right? But record, just do a recording of your question, right? Record the screen, record what you're doing, and then give it to us, and then maybe Jackie and I will tackle it in a podcast or something, right? So you don't have to wait a month, right?
That is a great suggestion. Thank you for that.
Yep.
I will follow this way.
Cool. Awesome. And especially anything where you guys have stuff that's not too niche, but you like, and I'm not worried about Marches if it is niche, right? He's also been offering and helping us a lot. But you know, when you get stuck on something that, you know, often I can point you in the right direction for something. I may not have the right solution, but I at least can point in the right direction. So feel free to reach out when it's really niche. And I've been dealing with selling my other house and getting it in the market. I've been really busy. I haven't had time to really do support on stuff. We're usually happy to help. And I guess we're at the end of the second hour. So if anyone else doesn't have anything that they'd like help with right now, I guess we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
So thank you all. Thanks for attending. Awesome stuff. Sign up to be a mentor and, you know, get a mentor. Both of them, you know, and Jackie can attest to this because I know he said it too. When you sign up to be a mentor, it's like with anything, right? You end up learning more yourself, right? Even when you're working in something, you know, you think you know it well, and then you start learning, you know, you want to help someone, and then you start learning it really, really well. And so it's a great thing. And you can, of course, you get matched up with someone, and it's not like it's a full-time job, right? It's every once in a while people need some help, get point in the right direction, and it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to seeing you. We'll still, what was the date? Do you remember, Jackie? The 22nd? Does that sound right? No, 15th?
15th.
15th. That's right, because it's not the 17th. Yeah. So so next month, thankfully, there's happens to be earlier in the month, so we'll have the webinar and we'll third Tuesday of the month. But looking forward to it. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.